Hi, everyone. My name is Rabindra Hayashi, and I'm the Events Production Coordinator at CAAM. I'm really excited to be with you here today. You just watched For My Father's Kingdom, a beautiful and intimate portrait of Saya Mafile'o and his family. In it, it documents not only how Saya navigates the rough streets of South Auckland, but also his sometimes fraught relationship with his New Zealand-born son Robert, who struggles to accept his father's commitment to a kingdom that tore his family apart. As a reminder, this film is eligible for our Audience Award, so to vote, please click the link above the video player. Winners will be announced right after the festival. Thank you so much for voting. We are really fortunate today to have the filmmakers here with us. And I'd like to welcome directors Via Mafile'o and Jeremiah Tauamiti. And we're all going to have a chance to talk. So Via and Jeremiah, thank you so much for being here.
No worries. Thanks for having us.
So I'd just like to start. This is a really intimate film about the family, and I'd just like to get a sense of how did you decide to make this film?
Well, I think it stemmed from me and my siblings being quite frustrated with our father. As you can see, he's in a financially difficult position, and here he is doing a paper run and wanting to give so much to the church. And for us, it was really about trying to understand why Dad would do that, because, you know, obviously we have different values than Dad, being brought up in New Zealand, and we have different beliefs. So it kind of stemmed from that idea, really. Yeah.
You know, on that note, one of my main takeaways about the film is how honest it was. I felt like we as the audience got a really good sense of Saya, as well as some of the struggles that your family has. And on that note, we actually have an audience question about that. So this one is from Jeremy, who is one of our interns. So Jeremy asks, were there any concerns in the beginning from about the presence of a camera during your family's conversations and experience? And if so, how did or didn't they manifest throughout this journey?
Well, I think I'm quite fortunate because in my family, my older sister's a photographer, and I also come from an art school background. And so we've been photographing and filming our family for a number of years. So everyone in our family is very used to having a camera around. But also beforehand, and when we decided to make this film, we made a very conscious decision as a family that we would be very open and very honest. And because if we were going to do it, we were going to go the full Monty. You know, we were going to put all of our stuff out there. So we needed to be able to back it and be proud about doing that. And it was extremely hard, of course, Jerry. But
I think so. He actually said it too, that when we first approached him about the documentary idea, even at the very start, he did say, "Yep, I want to do it to show my kids, you know, maybe a different side that they'd never seen before, and to explain certain things." And I think ultimately too, there might have even been a little bit of redemption for him at the outset, because he said, "I need them to understand." Those were his actual words. So I don't think the cameras have ever been an issue. Like Vera said, they're used to it. They're very used to it. So they were all really open. For me, behind the camera, I was mindful of that, but I didn't see any kind of, I guess, barriers or them trying to hide anything at all. They were very open.
Yeah, and I really appreciated how open everyone was within it, and it really made me feel like I got to know Saya almost as though, you know, he was someone that I had really met, you know, not just in the documentary. I'm curious though, when you were making the documentary, did he give you any form of guidance in how he wanted things to be portrayed or things like that?
No, he was. I mean, he doesn't watch a lot of films. to be honest, and he doesn't really watch a lot of TV apart from rugby. Um, so for him, it was really just, he actually would ask quite a lot. When you guys are still filming, like when is this going to be finished? Like, because we filmed for about a year and a half, probably even a little bit more, and he just really couldn't quite understand that people were paying for to know about his life. We got funded by the Film Commission. He didn't really kind of understand that, but for him, he could see the progress within our family, because we would always share. I mean, I think it helps that Emily and I are visual artists, and we kind of continuously are contextualizing everything, talking about it within our family. Robert, Dad said this. How do you feel about that? And we always tried to keep it open. And when new things were kind of revealed, we tried to keep it open within our family so that nothing would really be a huge surprise as well. That was something else that was quite important for us. Once the film was done, I didn't want there to be like big surprises that would freak people out. Even though they were still freaked out about being on the big screen, I think we just tried to keep as much open communication lines as possible.
That's really special. And in some ways, his honestness about just letting you do what you do with the films really matches his character based on what we've seen in the film, I think. And you mentioned that you filmed for about a year and a half. But approximately how long did it take you to put this film together?
Well, I was in the edit kind of off and on for about 9 months. Kind of in chunks. I think, it was definitely something that I didn't, me and my editor, Margot Francis, she's amazing. We didn't want to rush. And I knew that I needed to be 100% happy with every frame in this film before I could let it go. And there was a stage kind of where we thought we could have been finished, but we kind of down tools for a while. And that was, I think, the best thing for us because we unpicked a whole lot, repackaged it together, and that became the film. And I think we were so much richer for it,
Yeah, almost 3 years, I think, like almost
in
2 years
totality.
in total. About almost 2 years filming and then a year roughly in post.
Yeah.
That's really incredible. I want to ask you a little bit more about not just your filming, because I know that your filming took a long time. Specifically, I noticed sometimes Robert had a beard, sometimes he did not. I noticed that there was also a lot of footage that seems to come from VHS tapes, as well as some footage that looks like it comes from the 2000s. So can you tell us a little bit more about your use of archival footage?
Yeah, well, we were actually really fortunate because when we were younger, quite randomly, one of the tutors at Dad's school would film our family. Don't know why, but we love him for it. And we had like a couple of VHS tapes of where he had come on holiday with us, and the footage just was absolutely what we needed for this film to provide that context to why we were, in the position that we were in. And then also too, the stuff that is on DV Cam is a lot of stuff that I shot when I was in art school, and it's kind of like the same questions and the same kind of issues that we were talking about then that we're talking about now. So it's obviously this kind of like, I feel like it's this documentary that's actually taken a lot longer than 3 years, to be honest. It's been like almost a lifetime journey. Yeah.
I got that feeling as well when I was looking at that old footage, and reminds me, I think there's many of us who feel like if we were to do a documentary about these kinds of issues in our families, it would feel like it was a 10-year, 20-year documentary. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about your storytelling process and how you came to decide upon focusing on these events, especially because I felt like the footage that you had and your source material, your father is such an interesting person, and the situation that he occupies in New Zealand and in Tonga is so fascinating. I feel like there's a lot of different angles you could have gone with this film. Like, I feel like this could have been 3 or 4 really different films, and all of them really interesting. So tell us a little bit more about your storytelling process.
Yeah, I think what was really important for us was that it was not a critical film. We were not trying to tell anyone how to live their lives or what way is the best way, or so it was very, very important for us to have a balanced point of view, because we love being Tongan. We love that we have our Western side, our Palangi side, as we call it, and we wanted to be really respectful of everyone. I mean, it's my family, and I wanted to kind of be respectful, but not only that, but with the church. I think it was really important that the church would accept the film, and Dad's, our community accepted the film. That was one of our biggest worries, I think, in the whole kind of process, was that, it's such a thin line where we could have crossed it quite easily, but we never intended that to happen. And I think that was our main sort of trajectory, was that it would be something that shows quite a few different points of view, so that you as the audience can kind of have the opportunity to make up your own mind.
And I think too, the more we stayed on track with the personal story, the more we knew that we couldn't be criticized for leaning towards one way or the other, because they are quite topical subjects that we're bringing up within our community. This idea of having split loyalties to culture or modernity. Do we move forward, or do we hold on to tradition? Do we stick by the church, or do we go another route? But the more we stay true to Saya, Vera, Robert, Fiona, the whole family, the more we knew we were on the right track. So yeah, that was really important. Like Vera said, is just being creating a balanced point of view, and if we stuck by that narrative, that main narrative of family, then we knew we were going to be okay.
That's I feel like that really came out in the film really strongly as well. So then for you, what were some of the difficulties that you encountered? Like, what were some of the challenges, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Well, Jerry always likes to complain about not being able to sit down at the feast and eat at the same time. He had to film it. But I think for us, we've got three boys.
Yeah, where are you going with this?
Oh, no. So it's, because when we went away on our family trip, we had to take the children, and we always want to take our children with us. We do. I want them to have the same experiences that I did growing up in the islands and being immersed there. So it was kind of, I guess, difficult to get the footage that we needed to get, have the family there. I would be doing sound and baby in the other hand and just being like, shh, so it's kind of a juggle to have family on set the whole time. I think for me, being a mother, and also, I had the baby in the edit suite, crawling around. Well, actually, when he got to the crawling around stage, I was like, sorry, I can't do this to my editor anymore. You have to go to crash. So,
yeah. That's probably that's the challenge for us being a small production company, is that Vera, she's the director, but also too, she's got to man some of the gear if I can't do it all. And then we even had Robert doing sound on some occasions. And some people probably think that, you're breaking that wall documentary filmmaking if you get people, your subjects, to help out. But actually, this is the way we've kind of always rolled with all of our productions, and it's just on myself and Vera to be able to know when we can break the wall. And but it's a learning process. We're just doing that sort of stuff all the time, learning. We've had our son grab a camera when he has to. So they're challenges, but they're also too, for this documentary especially, it's a positive, it's a strength of what we're doing as well, because it's a big family affair, it's a big family film. So in that respect, you actually earn this bit of trust as well with who you're filming with. And trust is, as we know, is probably the most important thing for doco filmmaking anyway.
That was one. I'd like to talk a little bit more about that involvement that your subjects had in making the documentary, because that was something that I sort of got a sense of, but was really fascinating to see. So when the film was made, how did the community, how did, say, his church react to it? What was the reception?
It was, oh man, it was so much more positive than what that I had expected it to be, honestly. It was really embraced. It's been embraced so well by the community. And, ministers preach about it in their sermons.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, so, it's like they're understanding that, okay, things do need to change a little bit, like not completely, but our younger people are voicing concerns, and we need to address that. And also, I think, nothing's going to change overnight, and but I do feel like I've had a lot of responses from people where they've said, "Oh, you know what? After watching your film, I've talked to my dad, and he was actually talking to me, or we watched it together as a family." Even last night, someone just messaged and said that their estranged stepdad had watched it 3 times and contacted them, and
Wow.
so I feel like all this kind of pain, emotional trauma, and sweat and blood that our family went through, it's kind of there's been results, and I think it's kind of hard to see, but it's there. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I've also, when I was watching it, as I mentioned, I was thinking about my own family watching it, especially as someone else who is also mixed race. So it was something that I felt very strongly connected with. I wanted to ask, when we got to the end of the film, we saw that Saya had raised quite a bit of money. So especially since the time that you filmed, how is he and the community doing, especially in the contemporary where we are right now with COVID-19?
Well, he's still doing his paper run. So he really loves doing that. And they haven't got the church underway yet, but they're not even doing public services at the moment. We've just moved to level 1, so maybe that's going to happen in a couple of weeks. But yeah, with COVID-19, I think everything's just really kind of slowed down. We were actually in San Francisco when it first started, and we were doing a community tour. Which we were really kind of upset about not being able to complete, because we had such positive response from the few screenings that we did have. And so hopefully we can sort out some American Tongan community route one day.
Yeah, hopefully sometime soon, I would hope. What would you hope that that audiences take away from the film?
Probably that it's okay to go through the different emotions, that it's all right to sometimes feel frustration, and that it's okay. Well, the biggest thing that we wanted was for open discussions and open communication between parents and children, because it does have a huge impact on you if you don't. And it's very easy for Pacific men to, especially Pacific men that are born in the islands, to not really communicate, because there's the language barrier, but there's also a small part of it is the cultural aspect of it, where you don't necessarily always talk openly to your children, especially men to boys. So I think when you enter into a new country or culture or setting or environment, you have to look at being able to adapt while still staying true to your culture. So I think just being open and talking is the biggest one for me personally.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, thank you so much for that. Unfortunately, we are about to be out of time. So just Jeremiah and Vea, I really appreciated the film, and I'm sure the audience would also like to know a little bit more where they can find your work. What's next for you?
We've got a Facebook page for My Father's Kingdom and Instagram if you have any questions. We also have a small production company called Malosi Pictures, where we're both working on a few different short films and feature-length films. So you can find us on social media, but we're trying to work away at getting new work done.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we are out of time for today. So Vea and Jeremiah, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule and being here with us today. If you enjoyed what you saw and you want to support CAAM and our future programs, please consider joining as a member or making a donation. Please click the link above the player for more information. Thank you again for being here with us today, and enjoy the rest of the festival. Take care.